pedal people, it's ThePedalGuy here. How you doing? Today what we're going to do is we're going to do a deep dive into the DigiTech SDRUM. But before we get started, please take a second and click on that subscribe button down there and ring the bell so you can stay up to date with all of our videos. And if you're watching this on Facebook or Instagram, be sure to like and follow us so you can stay up to date with all of our activities. Okay, well, as promised, I wanted to circle back and take a look at the more advanced features of the SDRUM. You can only do so much in 10 minutes. So the purpose of this video is to focus primarily on the two knobs here at the top. So we're going to get started first by tapping in a rhythm here, tapping in a pattern, and having the SDRUM build a pattern around that. So we'll do that by first hitting the foot switch. So you can see the Learn LED is blinking quickly, and then we'll just tap in a pattern. Hit that foot switch again, and now SDRUM will build a pattern around that. Now, the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to actually turn off the hats and the rides, because we don't really need that for the moment. What I want to do is I want to focus on the left side here first. So what I'm going to do first is I'm going to use the encoder knob to select the different kits that are available here so that you can get a really great audition of what they sound like. Now, also keep in mind that there's an alternate kit, which may have the same kick or the same snare, but it'll have a variation, like one will have a tambourine, or maybe one will have a different kick drum or something like that. You just press the Alt button, and you can hear the brush. The brush kit now has a tambourine. Okay, so that gives you a pretty good idea of the kits. Now when we start adding in the hats and the rides, that's going to add a whole new element. But let's continue on to the other side of the encoder knob here. This is the groove part. So the kits are over here, the groove is over here. First things first, we can change the time signature. So we can go from 4/4 to 3/4. So let's kill the mic and give you a listen to what that sounds like. It's a very handy feature because not every song was written in 4/4, folks. Now, we have the timing. We have straight time, swing time. And these will obviously give you much different results depending on which mode you're selecting. But keep in mind, if you're in swing, if you want to add a swing, you don't want to have your tempo at something like that. It's going to sound terrible. So you want to be down around, that's about 90 BPM or so. Let's go ahead and press the mute and give you a quick audio example. So as you heard, I went back to the E-pop there because I thought that might be a little more beneficial for swing time. Let's go back to straight. And now at this point, let's take a listen to the different variations here, the different embellishments, we call them, I think, in the manual. We have the selection between simple, intermediate, and busy. So these will give you, of course, different sounds, or different feels, I should say, not sounds. It's going to give you a different feel. Let me go ahead and kill the mic and give you an audition. So I went through that quickly, but I'm sure you heard when I went from straight time to swing time and then started going through the embellishments, it did produce a different result. You get different flares on like the snare. You get actually a couple of other instruments in there. I heard a tom there somewhere in the background. Now, if we want to if we want this pattern to stop, we can press and hold the foot switch. Now, there's two things you can do. One is you can hold the foot switch down until the kick and snare blink rapidly and then release, and you're good. It stops. Or if you want a crash cymbal right at the end, just press and hold down for more than 2 seconds, and you'll get a crash cymbal. Now, that crash cymbal will choke depending on when you release the foot switch, but here's an example. So here we go. And now we're going to look at the right side here. So we're going to get that pattern going again. And now what we're going to do is start using the hats and the rides. So you have 12 different patterns. And we can go through each one of them, but it'll take forever. But what I want to stress is that this is just one thing that you can do. Okay, so in addition to rides that you hear here, if you press the encoder button, it's now going to switch to a different pattern. And then you can also push it again to go to the green pattern, which is kind of in tune with like the embellishments over here on the left-hand side. So this is a very simple hi-hat pattern. So if we were to go over here and say go to busy, that might not sound so great. So maybe we want to embellish that a little more. Press the encoder switch. And now you get a hi-hat pattern that really complements the kick and snare. Now that might be a little too much. So right there at the middle of the road is really nice. Now each one of these has a different variation on hat patterns that are very typically used all the time. And the same thing applies to each side here. So there's a really complicated hat rhythm. Okay, and that's an open hat. But as you might suspect, there's an alternate button down here. And just like over here on the left-hand side, there are different sounds that you can call up to use instead of just the hi-hat. So if you want to have like a ride cymbal, press that alternate button down. And now it's switching from the hat to the ride. Let's move to the brush set, the brush kit here, and let's go to an intermediate pattern or embellishment. Okay. Okay, so we're going to stick with the first one. And as you might imagine, there's actually there's a third variation here. Got a shaker going. There's a shaker with a little hi-hat. There's a tambourine. All right, so let's press and hold that foot switch down one more time to get that crash cymbal.